Okay, welcome back. I won't be on here long at all, but I wanted to go ahead and make a second quick little live to synopsize what I was talking about in the restaurant. And if you were there joining me, thank you so much. I did get your message that it was a little too loud and that you wanted to hear what I was saying. So I'm just going to do this live long enough to repeat what I said in a condensed version so that you have it. And then I'll post it on my YouTube so it doesn't get blocked here. What I was saying in the restaurant essentially was this about the birthrights, is that on May 15th, our president is going to look at relinquishing birthrights for certain individuals. Meaning, just because you have a birth certificate in the United States, he is now trying to pass a law to circumvent the Constitution because he really wants to eradicate laws under the Constitution. He's trying to dismantle the government. This is a bipartisan conversation. I'm independent. I no longer vote. So I don't have skin in the game. I'm just reporting what I know. So he ultimately wants to try to determine who gets citizenship. And my point is that everyone, I keep seeing these posts, and I was even one of them initially, I have to admit, now that I think about it, that I was like, well, fine, I'm not going to pay taxes if I'm not going to be a citizen, even though I'm born here. The logic, we've now left all sanity out the way, like it's all out the window, right? But I saw a TikTok where people just kept saying like, "Oh, I'm not gonna pay taxes. Like, forget it if I'm not gonna be a citizen. So this is a good thing," and I am trying to tell you it is not a good thing. It's not about taxes. Don't be so myopic focused that you can't see the bigger picture. We are getting shoved entertainment, Coachella, all of these things that are happening around a time that's supposed to be holy, all of these laws, these regressions in laws, and all of a sudden China wants to try to sell you direct contact to continue the link to consumerism, right? So that's not even good, right? We're focusing on the wrong thing. So instead of focusing on losing your citizenship and the benefit being you not paying taxes, here's another TikTok that I saw. Credit to the person who did this, but I'm sure most people have seen it. He said that for those who don't know, I have to say ostrich, which is the camp that the Germans use to store the you-know-whos, okay? He said that ostrich is not in Germany, it's in Poland. And if you're American and you know what that means, then good. And I'll say it again. Ostrich is not in Germany. It is in Poland. And if you're American and you know what that means, good. And everybody, even I'm like, well, what is that? I don't get the connection. What is he talking about? I'm like, one, I did not know that the infamous torture camp was not in Germany. And why does that even matter? Then, as luck would have it, God would bring me to another TikTok that was telling the history of how the little mustache man, when he started his regime and started to change the laws and the regulations, and he couldn't directly attack their structure, he used deportation as the means to get people to these camps. And they were processing camps. We're going to sort everything out. And they're like, no, like I'm a citizen. I'm, whatever. I've got my card. No, you're no longer a citizen. So we need to sort this out. This is the early days. Okay. This was like, and I've always thought growing up and how it's reported in our history books is that they became prisoners of war. Germany went to war with itself. The world went to war with Germany. And they took prisoners of war, which were their own citizens, because they wanted to usher in a new wave of society. They wanted to determine who got to be citizens, even though these people had birthrights, immigration rights. He didn't care. And so when I went to the comments of that video that was talking about the ostrich in Poland and da 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 da, someone in the comments said, because I was like, I don't get the connection. And they said, what he's basically trying to say is Poland plus Germany equals El Salvador plus the US. Poland plus Germany equals El Salvador plus the US. Give me a moment to get this message out and then I'll invite you in, okay? Essentially, I think you get the point. Little Mustache Man was using deportation to get people to camps. And once they left the country of their origin, it's harder to get them back because now they've crossed a border. So you're dealing with immigration both ways, right? So when people are getting deported from the US to El Salvador, it's out of jurisdiction. It's out of the country. Now rewind, you're like, this doesn't apply to me. Deep down in my heart, I really don't care. Well, on May 15th, our government is going to start initial discussions, not to say that anything's going to get passed. I'm not passing any wrong information, so don't hit no ban button. But on May 15th, these conversations are going to start to happen where all logic and reality leave the table because someone wants to have the voice on whether people who are born here, because they can't rip up the Constitution, so we're going to go through a back door to try to get at your rights, and you're going to relinquish them willingly because you're too focused on your taxes and some of the little myopic benefits that are going to be peddled to you. And you're going to think, yeah, I'm not going to pay any taxes. And then you're like, wait a second, they're severing ties from people who manufacture all of our goods. And they're saying that they're going to start producing goods here. Yes, we know most of it's going to be robotics. But at the end of the day, the cheap labor is going to come from here. They're not going to pay you $30, $40. And when someone burns the economy and sends it into the dirt and you can't get a job and you can't feed your family and there's breaks on the supply chain and you need to get income of any sort to come in and you start to work and then they say, by the way, you're not a citizen. And then you're like, well, I was born here. Like, no, we changed the law. Weren't you paying attention? And you gave it to us because you wanted free taxes. But we've got another tax for you instead of you paying federal tax because we were going to get rid of that anyway. So you, oh my gosh, just like Jacob and Esau, you gave up your birthright because you wanted your soup, you wanted your porridge, you wanted to get fat off of the land. You weren't thinking about your future. You were so focused on what you could get right now, your next tax break, that you weren't focusing on, that you just relinquished your rights. And then you're going to say, well, who are these people? And again, if your account's doing better than mine, please repeat what I'm telling you, okay? Because they've got me under brakes. So if you're hearing me and you're not entering the chat and you can hear me through the window, and this is hitting you, please make a video on your page, okay? This is about getting the information out. This is like calling all cars. So back to the point of who gets to decide who gets to be a citizen. Since we're just throwing out you being born here isn't enough. Why does that matter? Because they could deport you. Because now you're an illegal immigrant and you would have to bow at the person that can let you stay in this country, and that may come at a price. So you may not pay a federal tax. You might have to pay just to live in this country kind of tax. And I'm not saying this is true. This is 100% speculation, but I like to strategically be able to think about what's the end game. I don't play checkers or I don't play chess either, but I always like to at least be a tactician and try to think, where could this lead to? Just like with AI, we can already see where it's leading to. Who gets to decide? And what's going to be the criteria? And I was saying on my other live is that the only thing that makes sense in this country, which I'm not in the country at the moment, is Happy Easter, by the way. It's Easter over here in Europe. He has risen, I should say. Take that back. We're not honoring any gods of fertility. He has risen. Who gets to determine who's a citizen? People with power. And what type of citizens would usher in a new America, a greater America? People who can afford to be here, right? And if you can't afford to be here, you're going to be an indentured servant. Okay. And what currency would allow you to be a citizen? It's money. It's money and status. And I think we will have a different type of citizenship where even flying privileges, Mr. Rocket said, if you think, the recession that's coming and all the stuff that's coming and the restructuring that's coming, he said, if you think you're going to be able to get on a plane and just escape, one or two reasons. One, I know the first one 100%. It's going to reach. It's an international movement that's happening with digital currency and making sure that we move to this digital central banking system. Okay, so that's going to lock down where you're going to go. Now we have digital passports that will further lock down where you can go. Okay, so now you can quickly limit someone's access and someone's resources. You will not have a physical book to prove anything anymore. And if you think your app's going to work in a time when you need to prove your identity, good luck. And if your social status, because that's Black Mirror, what we're moving to, we are starting to look at social currency. So if your credit score, your social credit ranking gets lowered, you've got the dangling carrot of El Salvador for you. So how do you keep people in line? You're not going to be able to deport the whole nation because that comes with taxes. You're going to bankrupt the country, and you have corporations, and you're not going to let those fall. So, and everything's tied in the housing market, and not everybody has the free social liberty to pick up and move to another country and establish residency. So, and you can't deport everybody to El Salvador that you deem is not a citizen any longer. But you tie them to the system, the banking, the passports, travel. You dictate where they can go as a new citizen in your government under your policies. And only the wealthy will get the privileges that we used to have. That's why everything is rewinding. It's like, doesn't it feel like we're losing more and more rights? Doesn't it feel like, why does everything cost everything? You will owe nothing and be happy. And they're moving us to a subscription-based life. This girl on TikTok, it clicked. She was in her 20s, and I saw the wheels, like it finally clicked for her. But she said it in such a perfect way. She said, it just dawned on me. I think she was living in LA. She said, in order to park my body somewhere, like in order for me to park my body to go to sleep, or just to, if I'm not at work, just to be somewhere, because you can't loiter, that's illegal. You can't just, there's no third spaces anymore. You can't just sit at a park bench and relax, but you still have to sleep somewhere. She said, I realized it cost me $2,000 a month to park myself somewhere. And it's like, wow. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Like, they made it so it's illegal for you to take care of yourself, for you to build a house out on land. Even if you bought the land outright, you'd have to get permitted. They have to approve it. Then you'd have to have all of these things if you want to have some creature comforts. And if you don't, it's going to be illegal to collect rainwater. And then we're going to put things in the air so it blocks the solar rays. And it's just getting to a point, if you're paying attention, that the only type of thing we should be focused on is not taxes and not boycotts. While those are great, the biggest thing, and I hope you guys can hear me, the biggest thing that you can do for yourself, try not to get emotional, is to set yourself free with debt and with the being so embedded in the system. The housing market is just the biggest scam ever. We're paying for more and getting less. We're getting less square footage and we're getting less quality, and you will still pay them. And you still have to abide by rules. So they make it illegal for you to be homeless. They make it illegal. And it's always that dangling carrot of, like going to jail and being forced to do something. So fast forward to the indentured servitude, you now don't have any more rights. You were born in the US, but now because you were distracted worrying about Shein and worrying about who's wearing what at Coachella, they started talks about you not even being able to be a citizen anymore because, I don't know, maybe you don't care because you're one of the privileged pockets of the world. And I'm telling you, this is going to, I feel almost like I'm prophesying because I feel like I can kind of really see where this is going in such a clear, vivid way. And I don't want to scare anybody on here because I know people be trying to ban stuff, but and I want this message to get out. But I just can't even emphasize enough of getting yourself to a position where no one can dangle a carrot in your face and you be subject to have to bow. So the indentured servitude, like I was mentioning before, I would imagine would be the economy gets so wrecked, everybody gets laid off recklessly. I hope you're hearing me because this is really happening. And you're in a situation, because jail is always there. If you default so much, you're just going to get locked up. Where even a parking ticket could send you to jail because you've lost your job and now you can't pay for that ticket and now you've got a summons and now you're getting deported. Like this is the intensity that we could be moving to, and you better toe the line. So you're not going to get a parking ticket. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to. But if you don't have a job and food keeps going up, and you got that mortgage to pay because you were sold into the latest, hottest development because they hyped it up, because they said, oh, this is going to be the best investment ever. And we're going to burn down a section and all smart homes are going to come in here because the Olympics are going to come through. And you're going to want to come in here and invest, and we're going to crash the market on purpose, and we're going to make sure that the housing is really, really low so you can buy it at this is for the wealthy people, you can buy it at a premium price early, get in there, get a smart home. We're ushering in a new society, and you're like, I've got to hurry up and do this. I gotta, get on this. They're hooking you back into the system, okay? Because this is where it's going to backfire. This is where it's backfiring right now. People think they have job security. They're losing their jobs. The economy is tanking. The dollar is sinking. Debt is high. And they are stopping manufacturing with our biggest importer. Okay? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? That profits everybody. Because if they can get you in a place where you are dire and your life depends on you going to jail to pay your bills, you're going to take any job that you can get. And all those jobs that they want to bring back to America, all the sweat jobs that the kids over in where are doing, and we're consumers. And if you want that and you can't get that because we're going to ban that stuff from coming in, then you've got to make it. And he wants us to make it to sell it out to other. He wants us to be the new China. And we will be the new kids in the factory. Okay? This is where this is going, because you won't have another job. There's going to be no more government jobs. There's going to be no more college jobs. You're not going to be a professor. You're not going to be, this is going to be China 2.0, okay? China 2.0. There is a reason why he is recklessly slashing jobs, crashing the economy, and hyping up this new opportunity. If you want to be dumb, go ahead and try to position yourself to extract and be an investor. Okay? Go ahead and do that. And you're going to find yourself sitting with millions and millions of dollars in debt, a failing economy. You're not going to be able to keep up because we're not getting any pay increases. Taxes are still going to be due every year. And then they're going to say you're not a citizen. But you're not, this isn't a federal tax you're going to be paying. You're going to be paying to be a non-citizen in your own birth country. If this is not sounding like Egypt, biblical era, I don't know. I don't know. So if you guys want to keep selling on TikTok and promoting products and going to Coachella and worrying about what next hustle you can run and going on all these lavish trips and pretending you're rich and trying to look the part and worshiping celebrities, and they're making you the new celebrity because they need a new engine. Hollywood's dead. And we've got plenty of girls half naked on here who are ready to produce content for free. At the cost of what? Where are we going? The world is getting worse. You're going to make more money to spend on more crappy stuff. Like, the quality of stuff is down. You're going to buy a $400,000 home that has about $100,000 worth of material in it, because they've sold you on the optical illusion that having, I don't know, Gucci, Prada, a house, a car, something with a label on it is, that's, you've made it. And then you get there and you're like, okay, what's the next, okay, what else can I achieve? Because that didn't give me the burst that I thought I was going to get. There is no burst. There's no burst. There is no burst. They want you to get that house because it's planned obsolescence. Everything's going to break in it. Guaranteed taxes. You'll never even really own it. And it's just the illusion. But you've worked how many hours a year for a house that's crappy? And you don't need the house. The thing is, you don't need the house. You could just rent an apartment. You're going to be renting. Oh, but I want to build equity. I want to build. It's done. It's done. Trust me, I've done it. It's done. It's done. They get you coming and going. They get you coming and going. It's like you would be better off saving your money and putting it in a high yield savings or a bond and just letting it sit and doing nothing than you trying to be a landlord, you doing repairs, you paying insurance, you worrying about storms. And if you don't believe that there's weather systems, energy weapons that produce weather and storms and terremotos, earthquakes, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I'm trying to tell y'all. I'm trying to leave y'all messages on my page, but I don't know. They have blocked me and stopped me from talking, and I kind of feel like I'm talking into a vacuum because nobody's listening. Nobody's paying attention. Like, I just keep scrolling through TikTok and all I see is people hustling wigs. I'm like, you're going to be making those wigs pretty soon. Like I need you to wake up. But they're twerking and they're just having all kinds of fun. I'm like, we are watching our country turn into, the 1930s Germany. And we're putting on We have the technology. Yes, we have the technology. But we're, try to tell them about the firmament and us living in a dome, and no one, like, I thought it was conspiracy stuff too. I really did. I thought it was like, okay, what you talking about? Like, we don't live on a globe. Are y'all crazy? We never went to space. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's just, I saw the astronauts blow up. I was in elementary school. They televised it. And then I started digging, and people who are supposed to be dead aren't even dead. And then people are like, oh, the timelines are shifting. I'm like, no, the timelines aren't shifting. Like, people are just messing with their population. But I want to show you the book before I jump off here that I want you guys to get, because